Mr. Feinstein, are you with us?
I am by Google Meets.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, let's kick this off. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is Wednesday, February 1st, 2023, and the time is 10 o'clock a.m. Would those commissioners who are in attendance please identify themselves and state as to whether they are here in person, via telephone, or Google Meets.
This is Eric Feinstein. I'm here via Google Meets.
Thank you, Commissioner. I am Scott Fletcher. I am here via telephone. And it looks like we're a two-man band right now until Commissioner Pennington gets in. So let's press on. Item B, our new business. B1 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. The new license application submitted by Mr. James Bryant for a 2023 professional boxing athlete license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to Mr. Bryant's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bryant is 37 years old. He is 6-2 as a professional boxer. His last bout was in October of 2022 in Pennsylvania, and he did lose that bout to TKO. And prior to that, though, he's been very successful and haven't lost in quite some time. When asked about his training regimen, Mr. Bryant had the following answers. I asked him how long his training sessions typically were, and he said that usually he trains for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. He trains Monday through Friday. He said strength training 4 to 5 days a week, and then he trains in the morning from 5 to 6:30, and 3 days a week he does bag work, and 4 days a week he does mitt work. It looks as though he runs quite often, 6 days a week of running, and he spars twice a week. He says he feels very great about his upcoming bout and has not experienced any recent injuries. I will note that based on his last TKO in October, the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission only suspended him for a period of 30 days, which is obviously the lesser period for a TKO. And they did not cite any trauma from that. So based on his record and his experience, I do recommend his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. I appreciate your in-depth deep dive on Mr. Bryant and his current state. Commissioner Feinstein, thoughts, questions regarding Mr. Bryant's application?
None for me.
Okay, very good. The chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36, that we approve the new, I move that we approve the new license application submitted by Mr. James Bryant for a 2023 professional boxing athlete license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. I am going to second that motion. We now have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Congratulations, Mr. Bryant. We'll see you at weigh-in tomorrow. Item B2 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228A, B, and E, and 5-229. The renewal license application submitted by Mr. Bradley Moore, doing business as Sol Boxing Promotions LLC for a 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to Mr. Moore's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Moore presents a stable financial position based on our investigative memo. Sol obviously puts on numerous events each year, and I think that they're going to continue to do great things. I have no concerns with this application, and I do recommend their approval for renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioner Feinstein, questions, thoughts?
No, I appreciate the thorough look into the organization by Mr. Vella. been to some of these events and always have enjoyed the show, and no further questions from me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I've been to a number of Del Sol events as well. I'm impressed with how they run their operation. We expect our promoters to cross every T and dot every I, and they seem to be able to do that. So I, too, agree with you in that regard. Chair, be open to motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, A, B, and E, 5-229, that we renew the license application submitted by Mr. Bradley Moore, doing business as Del Sol Boxing Promotions for a 2023 promoter's license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion, which I will second. We now have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Congratulations to Mr. Moore and Del Sol.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B3 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, A, B, and E, and 5-229. Renewal license application submitted by Miss Lucinda Morrow, doing business as Sweet Science Boxing Promotions LLC, for 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to Miss Morrow's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So Ms. Morrow's application came back financially stable as far as the organization of Sweet Science is concerned. I do have a few concerns regarding this application that I'd like to address. One thing, obviously, I sent over some complaints that we've received. There's been numerous complaints regarding the organization, and what stood out to me the most is the concern over Mrs. Morrow's involvement with the promotion. It seems as though Mrs. Morrow is not really involved in much of the day-to-day, and I've experienced that myself, having not really ever been in communication with Ms. Morrow, and at the two events that Sweet Science has organized since me coming on with the commission, I have not dealt with Mrs. Morrow. So I am concerned with the fact that Mrs. Morrow is the licensee, and yet she is not much involved in the promotion. It seems as though she's a promoter in name only. So at this time, I am not comfortable approving this application.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioner Feinstein, any thoughts about this situation?
No, I again appreciate Mr. Vella and the time that it takes to work through some of these issues. I think you know, when we're talking about boxing and MMA, you know, people's lives are literally on the line, and there needs to be some accountability for every organization that puts people at that risk to put on a show. And without somebody there that is visible and accountable for all of the things that need to happen to put these shows on safely, I agree with Mr. Vella. I think it's I think we need to see that from this promotion in order to continue to move forward.
Thank you, Commissioner. I agree completely. Some of what we do as a commission is protect ticket holders and fighters and their interests. Recently, events have been canceled, or portions of events canceled, and fighters not paid. It's disconcerting, to say the least. Ms. Morrow, are you with us? Okay, it's going to be difficult to talk about this without the promoter, and in the last two events, she's also declared herself the matchmaker. There's some matchmaking issues I'd love to discuss too. But Mr. Vella, anything else you'd like to say?
Mr. Chairman, there may be members of the public that wish to comment on this issue. I don't know if you'd like to hear their comments before making a decision.
Surely, I'd like to keep it to a minimum, to a low roar if we can. But sure.
Absolutely. Is there a particular time limit, sir? Would you like to give him maybe 2 minutes?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay. So anybody that wishes to speak, if you would unmute yourself and identify yourself, please. Okay, perhaps there are no comments. And so,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to comment. I thought you guys had a lineup already or something. This is Josephine Carbajal.
okay, Ms. Carball.
Yes, so I'd like to address the first item that you discussed about Lucinda. Lucinda's on the phone. She's just having trouble being able to talk.
Could you confirm Ms. Morrow's phone number, please?
Yeah, it's 92.
The last four of the phone number, please.
The last four is 1807.
Okay, could she unmute herself, please, and identify?
Hi, it's Lucinda.
Okay, Ms. Carball, carry on, please.
Yes. So like all other promoters, I've always been to the meetings and I see that they have a representative. Like Del Sol has a representative. Top Rank has representatives. Lucinda's at every show. Lucinda, would you like to? I prefer you listen to her first. So go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? I mean, I've said hello, hello,
yes, Lucinda, we can
6
hear
times.
you.
Okay, thank you. All right, where are we at? I mean, I know I haven't met you personally, but I was at the last show, so I don't feel like I'm not having.
So being in attendance at a show, and Mr. Chairman, please correct me if I'm out of order here, but being in attendance at a show, Ms. Morrow, is far different than being a licensed promoter and running.
Correct. I agree. And
okay.
yeah.
And so the concern here is with regard to accountability. And if you were the licensed promoter and you are not the individual that is orchestrating the event and that is communicating with the fighters and communicating with the commission, obviously there is a lack of accountability there. And should something occur that has occurred, it's very difficult to hold somebody accountable who is absent.
Mr. Vela, I remember talking to you about Lucinda turned in the application and you guys were in communication with that because that is something only she can do. So I'm very confused about this because I see that there's a clear misunderstanding about whether we talk or we discuss things. We are partners. We do work together on this, just like any other company.
So, Carball, you mentioned that you are partners, and so I take that as an ownership stake in the company. Are you aware that our statutes require every owner who has over a 25% stake?
Right, and there's not 25%. We're aware of that. We've been through this process. This is the first time, and I can tell you why it's the first time, and I know why it's the first time because we have a whole, like Commissioner said, a roar. We know who's behind all of this, and because you're such a young commissioner, you've probably been attacked a whole lot, and all the words that you guys are saying are words that we've heard in the past until Commissioner Meneses put a stop to that. So now you're affecting this whole business that we built. I mean, I want to know what the next steps are in order to, because we're the only company that has taken a local fighter all the way to the big show. Like we put a lot of hard work in there, and we're going to have people trained on what to say about whether we pay fighters. If you can look at, you have all the records, you know, we've paid every fighter that has weighed in and follow the statutes. We follow the statutes that are in front of us. That's what we rely on you for.
I'm sorry, can I interject a little bit? I'd like, Ms. Morrow, will you speak to what took place in Prescott, please? Are you saying that every single fighter that weighed in for that card was paid? Ms. Morrow, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Will you please answer my question? Was every fighter paid that weighed in for that event?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer and Mr. Bay were paid?
They didn't fight, Commissioner. They didn't fight. They didn't show up.
Your statement, you just made a statement that everyone who weighed in has been paid at every one of your events.
Yeah,
Yes,
So
because
they were paid.
correct.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yes,
Can you
they
speak to your
did.
co-promotion arrangement that you had in Prescott? Which promoters did you bring into that event?
There were none.
You didn't have any co-promoters in Prescott? Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time. I have no further questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I may
Commissioner,
make one
they were
comment.
not. Yeah, they were not. Am I allowed to speak on it?
I'm sorry, who's this?
Ms. Carvajal, you've been muted. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would just like to make a comment that I feel as though there is some gaslighting going on here. Obviously, remarks of my age were made that clearly have no meaning in this call, and quite frankly lack substance. So, sir, I'd just like to make a recommendation
I'm
on the
sorry.
basis that we have concerns with Ms. Morrow's accountability. Obviously, her not being able to answer your questions accurately are concerning, to say the least. And so I would just like to say that my recommendation at this time is that we deny Sweet Science this renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. I appreciate your time. If there's a motion, the chair would be interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, do we, Mr. Chairman, just as a matter of procedure, if we don't vote on it, it just doesn't happen. Do we have to vote to deny it?
There is a motion to deny would be in order, or a motion to approve.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, sections A, B, and E, and 5-229, I move that we deny the renewal license application submitted by Ms. Lucinda Morrow, doing business at Sweet Science Boxing, for a 2023 promoter's license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. I'm going to second the motion. We now have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. The renewal license application is denied. Let's move on to C, our call to the public. Mr. Vella, are there those who would like to chat with us?
Yes, hello.
Any members that would like? Oh, I'm sorry. It seems that we do. Is that last four digits ending in 22? Those are the only numbers that I can see of the phone number. Please identify yourself.
Yes, hi. My name is Melissa Patron.
Miss Melissa, we can give you 2 minutes at this time.
Okay, yes, I am the mother of Fernando Martinez, and Fernando is sitting here at this time. It's sad that we had to come to this, but we've been trying to get our promotional contract agreement, and we are been unsuccessful this whole time. I've never met Lucinda. I don't even know who she is. Neither has Fernando. The only person that I can get contact, or the only number that I have, is Josephine. He, decided to just cut us off, have no ties with us, doesn't reply to my texts or my phone calls. And all I need and all I want from her or from them is our promotional contract agreement, which is the second one that we had, stating that we are done. I really need for them to give us that. Yeah, and it's just because the way they operate, I do not trust, their words, and I need for the commission to help me in this, because they put us through a lot this last year. Fernando sat here, had 2 contracts with them within this whole year, and the last contract, the 6 months, we had not one fight. We're sitting with 2 fights within the whole year. We had a contract for 6 fights. Yeah, and then we fought out in Agua Prieta, was left out there with the kids, no contact, left me out there with nobody, with nothing. And then she came. Yeah, and I had no, like, there was no contact with Josephine or Jose. It was a mess. We ended up fighting on a whole other day. We stayed out there till Sunday. And that fight, still to this day, isn't on BoxRec. So I'm hoping that today you guys can help us get this promotional contract from, I believe, Josephine.
Ms. Melissa,
Very
thank
good.
you. Your time is up now, Mr. Chairman.
I was just going to thank Ms. Patron and Fernando. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being party to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vela, anyone else?
Yes, Ms. Josephine Carbajal has raised her hand. Ma'am, you got 2 minutes.
First of all, I just want to apologize to you, Danny Vela, because when I said young, I meant in the position, not your age. I wasn't referring to your age. We tend to go through this with the commissioner panel. We tend to go through this with the commissioner because as far as the business side, as of right now, there is no, Melissa, there's a lot more details involved than what you're saying, but I wish the best for Fernando
As
yourself.
far as you trying to fight me in Agua Prieta, you
That
literally
what?
try to put your hands.
See,
You try
no,
to fight me out in Agua Prieta. So, I mean,
it's
there is a lot.
but
We will not have any
fine.
back and forth.
Right.
One moment.
So
One moment,
on
please.
that end,
I've muted both of you, and just so you understand, during the public comment period, please do not interrupt the current speaker, okay? You've been given your time. Ms. Carbajal, you may carry on.
I would just like to know what the next steps are, maybe just to get some guidance on how to go ahead and get this back on track. Because once we really talk it out, you're going to see that this was not the correct decision. There's just a lot of, if you want to talk gaslighting, it's really done on the other end of the family. Like, we know Michael Carvalho and Laura Hall are behind all of this. They're going to call you over and over, but we're not ever going to stop. We're going to push boxing. I would like them to think about getting a promoter's license so they can do what they think we can't do. So I'm just going to move forward. We're going to move forward and take the guidance of the commission. I have no hard feelings, but I am upset about the decision. I don't think it was a fair shot that you didn't talk to us first and look at the rules. I want to look at the rules that we have broken and the rules that we didn't follow.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Ms. Carbajal, next week, you and I could set aside some time if you'd like to discuss these items, and you could also, and I, as I've stated before in previous calls, that we want to ensure that we also assist with people getting into compliance. And so we can have that discussion and possibly talk about a pathway to correct this. But at this time, that is the decision of the commission, okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Ms. Carbajal, thank you. I'd like to thank you for some great events you all put on too. Today is different. The fact that a promoter doesn't know who the co-promoters are at an event is really disconcerting. And I think that's why we ended up where we are. But again, we appreciate your efforts over the years. You've done some great things. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we did not. Lucinda, she didn't know the other promoters because they weren't licensed here. So we know that's a rule. We can't work with them like that. We had to just allow their fighters to fight if they were going to fight. There was
that said, our promoters have to know co-promoters, have to know them well.
We weren't co-promoting. It was them co-promoting with the Bay brothers. They kept talking. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that need to be clarified. But when
Ms. Carbajal, your time has just expired.
Okay. Yeah. No worries.
Appreciate your thoughts. Mr. Vela, anyone else?
At this time, Mr. Chairman, it does not appear any other members of the public wish to speak.
Thank you, sir. Let's move on to D, call to the commission. Commission members or the executive director may introduce a summary of current events, ask questions, and or make comments. Mr. Vela, any thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to remind everyone on the call that we do have the Top Rank boxing event this Friday. So that'll be a great way to kick off the year for boxing. And so For anybody on the call that will be attending, we'll see you there. But I would also like to say, sir, that I will be including in the information report for the next meeting an update, a huge update on the concussion protocol situation that we've been discussing, and we believe we found our solution. So we'll talk about it. And with that said, I don't have any other comments.
That's fantastic. Great news. Commissioner Feinstein, anything you'd like to discuss?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I, too, have said my piece, I think. So we head to E, which is the announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, and is subject to change based on a quorum, which pushes us to F, which is the notion of a possible adjournment, which would require a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
We have a motion, which I will second. We now have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. We're officially adjourned. Thank you all for your time. Great things await. Take care, everybody.